Good evening, Ivona. Let's see if this all works. There we are. It's TarotLumination. It's Sunday night. It's the 28th of September 2025. Had a very glitchy hour trying to get the technology to work, but it looks like we're here. My little computer is struggling. It's showing its age, and kind of makes me sad because it's stood by me. It's like an extremely high mileage car, and it's done very well. I've done a lot of maintenance over the years. I've just done a major upgrade, and it's all working. It's just that if you think of the car analogy, back when I bought it, it was, pretty much cutting edge, apart from having a full-blown desktop gaming computer system. And now it's primitive by comparison. And I have a little, it's like what I'm hoping to get is a new laptop which will do the job. It's with what's called an i7 13th generation processor, which is what I need. And this is an i7 first generation. So it's the equivalent of, I'm running around like on a little 2-cylinder motor scooter as opposed to having a V8 supercharged turbo, which is what I need to do the show, because it uses a lot of power to do these shows. Not a lot of electricity, but a lot of computing power. So I just thought I'd mention that. Hello, Ivona. You will be pleased to know that Bubba is making a very good recovery right now. I gave him plenty of basically 5 days of colloidal silver treatment. It's really helped. Most of the damage around his jaws and teeth seems to have faded. I think he still has an annoying little something stuck in his tooth somewhere, and I've tried to get in there, done the best we can. But my feeling, it was an inflammation and an infection, and I think he's got it. He's okay. And I've been pampering him, and he's had a very nice day with food and kibble and treats and gravy and cuddles. So he's doing well. I like to keep him really happy because I believe being a happy little cat from the inside out really boosts his immune system. Because when he first had the jaw problem, I think it was an infection, and he came really down. He wouldn't eat, and he was just miserable. But the healing power of love works miracles. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for all the tips, Ivona. Now, let me see. Mr. Ross, good evening. And how are your furry friends coming along since I've been talking about little Bubba the cat? Might want to share a couple of notes there. Yeah, I'm really happy to hear too. It's makes me feel really good. He didn't get his usual physiotherapy in the morning. Usually I give him a really good long dose of physiotherapy. He loves it. But he was so up and around because he was already so happy because he ate very well overnight. Probably had 3 or 4 dinners overnight, full courses, mixed with gravy and sloppy bits and all sorts of stinky concoctions, and he just gobbled it up. Right now he's in a little bit of a food coma, which is good, and it makes it easier for me to do the shows because he needs a lot of TLC. Hello. They're doing better? Oh, really? I remember when we were last working together, Gregory, you were hinting that Stone Cold, for everybody watching, Stone Cold is this big, beautiful, gray, furry cat with Gregory. Stone Cold had done some kind of transformation where he turned around and decided, you know what, I might as well get to know this other little four-legged creature living in my house. What is that? Anyway, I'm glad they're getting along better. Maybe it's not perfect, but better is good. Yeah. Hello, Starzy. It's been a while. I'm sorry it's such a late start. I had a lot of computer problems. I have to do this show on a Chrome browser. I don't like Chrome. I don't like Google very much, but I mean I have to do it because it's YouTube. And I had a lot of problems with the studio that I have to use on Google Chrome TarotLumination channel to get everything to work. It was very glitchy, and I had to basically shut everything down and reboot everything just to get things going. Oh, Stone Cold still hates her? Really? But so you're saying he hates her, but he tolerates her. Is that it? In other words, we're just going to make the best of a bad situation. Yeah. Man. I don't know about you folks, but I'm hardly here on YouTube anymore because it's almost pointless. It's just that I love YouTube and the way it works. YouTube is an incredible phenomenon. I still get sentimental about my glory days back in 2017 and 2018. And some of you might have heard that Google, Meta, all the big ones, Amazon, whoever does all the media, Twitter, they all admitted and confessed that they had been manipulated and forced by the federal government, hint, hint, Grandpa Joe, to do mass censorship in order to comply with the government storyline at that time, which of course is not something that I really ever enjoyed. And so Google has basically announced, hey, we're going to reinstate all these YouTube channels that we shut down and struck out of existence over the years. Mine was never actually completely obliterated, but I had multiple strikes and shutdowns where I couldn't work for weeks at a time. That's their punishment. So, anyway, I don't think they're ever going to repair the algorithm on my channel, and I'm not really hopeful. I'm going to try to ask again, because it would be nice. What I'd love to do is migrate my Rumble show. Some of you know I have a show on Rumble where I speak very openly and I'm very candid with my opinions and people know where I stand. Whereas on YouTube, I can't do that. I can't pretend I'm a this or that and pretend I'm sort of in the middle and I'm just an observer. No, I'm not. So, anyway, I'm thinking about approaching YouTube and asking them to rebuild and reconstitute my algorithm so that when I do my Rumble shows, I can access a Rumble feature that allows me to go click and it will automatically transfer onto YouTube. That's pretty cool. And it does a few other things as well. I can't do that with YouTube and send it everywhere else simultaneously without massive softwares that I don't have. Anyway. Oh, Gregory, regarding Stone Cold, what I noticed with little Bubba is when he gets upset or disturbed by any people or sounds or anything that makes him upset, I just give him a lot of cuddles and TLC and food treats above and beyond normal. He's already pampered because he has to be. He needs pampering. And it does help. It makes him feel loved and it makes it much easier to feel confident. Like, well, I don't like that other furry little animal, but at least Gregory loves me. I know Gregory loves me. Nobody understands. It's my house. There shouldn't be any other four-legged weirdos in here, including a girl who thinks she's above me. But Gregory likes her and wants her, so I'm just going to put up with it because I love Gregory, and I know Gregory loves me because he proves it. Gregory, prove that you love me. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Oh boy. Before we jump into any readings, I just thought I'd share a little story. I have a friend now, a very young fellow, but we have a common denominator. He's very much into motorcycles. You've been very attentive. Ah, that's excellent. Perfect. And he's got a car collection. He's a very young, hyper successful race driver. And we've become friends. And he came over to hang out so we could talk about motorcycles and I could share some of my old stories. Anyway, he came over in one of his cars. He has a lot of cars and motorcycles. He's only 17, but we connect like adults. Anyway, he brought over his Dodge Challenger Scat Pack, which is basically like a 7-liter muscle car, monster car, with superchargers and turbos and whatever it is. And he said, come on, let's just go for a ride. And I said, well, we could go up into the mountains. It's got wiggly roads. The surfaces are pretty good. And he said, sure, come on, let's go. So my friend and me went in the car, and he was driving, and we tooled up in and out of the neighborhoods. And I could tell very early on that this car was a beast. And basically, it's probably, they don't make them anymore because they're pretty much too powerful, okay? They're dangerous. You have to have special insurance to drive these cars when he has that. Anyway, so he took us on a ride. We went up into the mountains, and he was just zooming and zooming and zooming, and I thought, wow, this is amazing. And then he said, okay, let's start to have some fun. And I went, oh. Okay, well, I'm already having fun, aren't you, my dear friend? And he said, okay, let's open it up a little bit. And so he kind of went, put down the throttle, popped through a few gears, and within a matter of seconds, literally seconds, we were up to 120 miles an hour, and you didn't even notice it. The car, I mean, you could see it, but the car was just like, doop-be-doop-be-doop-be-doo. Oh, okay. And then we had to brake pretty fast because we don't want to get in trouble. Even though we're way out in the mountains, we didn't want to get in trouble. But that was a lot of fun. And I've been starving for fun lately. The weather's cooling down, so it's easier to feel good. Hallelujah. Yeah. Starzy. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Okay, anybody else got any crazy stories to tell? I wonder if Tina Miller is going to show up. We haven't seen each other in a long time. I mean, I only come here on the Sundays now. And, yeah. Yeah. What I've noticed also about living in Las Vegas, it's a very different world to anything I've known before. I do not like it here. I've made it very clear. But I think I'm doing a really good job adapting anyway. It's 5 years. Can you believe that? It's 5 years. March 3rd, 2020 was when I landed back in Los Angeles after my wonderful trip to New Zealand. And we landed, and the pilot told us we're going to be stuck in the airplane for hours because Los Angeles just announced a complete, utter lockdown because of a new bug, number 19. So I thought, okay, this is it. And we after we disembarked, all hell broke loose in Los Angeles. Everything was a ghost town. It was all shut down. And I thought, oh my God, this is not working for me. I love LA. I love my freedom. I like the mountains, the forests, the lakes, the museums, the movie biz, the TV biz, the beach. I love it. I love my coffee shops, my friends, my art galleries, all of that stuff. And, you know, it was my home for 20 odd years, more, 25 something. And I had my little apartment, and then it all went wrong. And I ended up having to migrate to Las Vegas, as I really found out very quickly I didn't have any other options. It was all very synchronistic, and that was beautiful. So I got rescued, and I'm here now. But I suffered a lot of damage over those 5 years. I lost a lot of money going to court to get rid of the horrible people who destroyed my apartment. And I wanted to leave on good terms with the owners and so on. I had to get sheriffs and lawyers and cops to get rid of these disgusting people who invaded and ruined it. Horrific. And then, you know, years of transitioning. The heat was very destructive. I had several heat strokes, and so I'm very, very frightened of the heat, even today. Now it's just, this week it's just started to cool down enough where I feel kind of safe to go outside. 5 years, a lot has happened. But, you know, we had years before that of doing TarotLumination from Los Angeles and from New Zealand. And I get sentimental. I miss the glory days. I could earn a living. I earned a living from my little channel. I had fun. We'd travel. We would do private healing sessions. It was fantastic. And now all I have is my little Sunday night live mini readings. I feel I've let down a lot of people, and there's nothing much. I don't know what else to do. You just got back from riding your horse? Oh, I've been watching quite a few horse videos recently. That's what I do to cheer myself up, because I get sad very quickly and easily. And one of the nicest things I find is to like pet rescue stories where it has a happy ending. So I've been watching a few of those, including horses. I've had to do a couple of horse rescues. They made me very, very, very angry. I was very tempted to destroy the life of the horse abuser, but I didn't. The horse abuser basically left a horse and said, "Oh, I'm sure someone will figure it out." And the horse got really skinny and covered in disease and mange and all sorts of flesh-eating problems. It was disgusting, and I had to bring in an emergency veterinarian. The veterinarian was shocked, but anyway, the horse was rescued. It came around okay. And I have not been on a horse since I was a young person. I had a couple of interactions with horses which made me kind of frightened, because I used to work and live on a farm, and one of these horses was very, very, very big. And the owners of the farm said, "Can you just hold on to him for a minute while we do this and this?" And the horse looked at me, and I looked at the horse, and the horse was like, "This isn't going to work. I am not going to put up with you, whoever you think you are, trying to hold me back. Excuse me. That's the dumbest thing you can do, is tie that rein thing rope around your hand, thinking you can pull me or keep me stable. I'm sorry, it's not going to work. Watch this." And so the horse basically started rising up on his back legs, twisting his head, and he basically almost pulled my arm out of its socket as he started throwing me around up in the air at the end of my rope. And I got very frightened by that, and I kind of thought, I don't want to do this anymore. Diana Lynn. Total Horse Channel is awesome. Macy Dunbar. Wow. Okay, so also Diana Lynn, by the way, my sister was when she was very young, she was into horses, and she could somehow afford it. And So she was a very successful prize-winning dressage rider. In other words, very, very formal horse riding where you have to do all these intricate maneuvers and jumps and everything, competing against very highly trained horses. It's all, it's all... Everything happened on the British countryside. And so you get lots of people showing up with their tweed jackets and their rubber boots and their thermoses and they look very, very British. All the horse people. Everybody looks like they're related to King Charles or Queen Elizabeth, Yeah, with horses, you mix or you don't. They can smell phony. If they realize that you're scared of them, you're screwed. Utterly screwed. They have no respect for you from that moment onwards. Yeah. 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 Ah. Mm. I did occasionally, when my sister felt like friendly, she would say, come on, let's just go for a ride in the park. And she had friends who had these massive horse stables in a huge stately home, like national park kind of thing. Again, so it looks like lords and ladies, dukes and duchesses in these huge mansions. There's deer walking around in the hills and the forests and the trees. Everything's like a freaking, Downton Abbey movie. And she would go into the back with her friends and saddle up a few horses and tell me, hey, come on, I'll be with you. So we would go riding up in the woods and stuff. And I was like, yeah, this is kind of fun. And she said, come on, let's run, let's go. And I would go, okay, come on, Gigi, come on, go. And it would go, and I'd be thinking, oh, shit, this isn't going to work. I'm not so good at this stuff. If I fall off, they'll probably turn around and trample me out of disrespect. And anyway, I made it back alive. And I wish I could get on with horses, but I just don't. Yeah. 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 There was a period where I lived right next door to a field where there was a mule and a donkey. The mule and donkey were named My Lady and Neddy. They were both basically wild, but you could go up to them and play. You could go in the field and run around with them. But if they decided, we don't want to do this with you anymore, they would get very rambunctious. Yeah. Over the summer, I rescued quite a lot of bees. But again, as you know, most of the bees have died off around here. Las Vegas has very few animals because there's no water here. You don't have any wildlife or anything like that. There's no humidity, no moisture, nothing. There's nothing for animals here. I mean, there's pigeons, and there's a few wild birds that hang around in car parks and things, but I don't call that wildlife. Yeah, Gregory, I could see you on horses. You're very much a Western man. You're a lawman. You've got the hat, the boots, the buckles. You've got it all. Yeah. Do they have any riding stables nearby where you can go for a ride? Yeah. All right, let me just check something. Pigeons, flying rats. I know people think of them that way. I think they're kind of cute, obviously, until they're not. They have a tendency to swarm. I'm not allowed to put out food or snacks or leftovers over here because it will attract the pigeons. Oh, Gregory, you're polo. Whoa. That's part of the, the upper class. The upper class and their polo ponies, yeah. No, it's a lot of work to own a horse. They need so much TLC, food, shelter, veterinarians, hoof. You have to do their hooves all the time. It's crazy. I've had to bury quite a few pigeons since I've got to tell you, I'm kind of sick of it, and I haven't had to do this for a while, but there's a lot of road kills here because there's a lot of very bad drivers and very bad pet owners. So the end result, road kills. I've had to do quite a lot of burials and rescues of road kills. It's kind of a gruesome process because the animal services don't really like to do it. They think, well, they're already dead, and what's the point, and so on. Whoa! Oxford. Oh, wait a minute, you're talking about Oxford, England. Oxford, England, right. I used to live in Oxford, England. I went to school there for about 6 months to try and improve my grades. It didn't help that much because I was just too dumb. I've always been a kind of a C grade person, sadly, when it comes to traditional academics, sadly. But I managed to get through. Alfred the Great, my God, that's a lot of history, man. Yeah. Magdalen College. Holy shit. I remember you told me about that years ago. Yeah, Magdalen College. Honestly, I couldn't wait to get out of there. I really kind of didn't like it. I felt like I'm this young American kid living in England, and there was such a cultural disconnect. Like, everybody over there was walking around with posh accents, and they all looked like they were related to the royalties of some kind. And of course there were some foreign students, and everyone was super ultra hyper intelligent, or super hyper intelligent and rich. They're all part of the upper classes, you know, the lords, the ladies, the dukes, the duchesses, the sirs, the madams, the right honorables, and so on. And I don't feel like I belonged, so I just got out. Knights of the Garter. Oh my God, you got some serious history, man. I don't have that kind of history. I'm just a Euro mutt. I'm half French, half German, but born in America by American parents who are French and German second generation types. So I'm a classic American Euro mutt. There we go. Classic vintage American Euro mutt. Oh yeah, talk about snotty. Yeah. Upper class twits. I'm sure you've heard of Monty Python and their crazy, crazy humor. It's great if you're in that kind of crowd. Yeah, you have to outsnot them. Yeah, Like, oh boy. I don't belong in that kind of world. I'd rather do what we do here. I know it's a little bit weird and wonderful, and there's only a tiny little crowd of us. We have a very tiny audience, but, you know, at least I feel at home here. I gotta check a couple of technical things while we're here, and then we'll see. Okay, see about a little show. Hold on, give me a second. Oh, my poor little computer. Come on, you can do it. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Man, it's tough. I'm trying to check the charts, so I got some stuff so I can get people up to date on the astrology of the moment. And I'm waiting for some ephemeris and chart material to show up. Okay. And you know, stars in girl. Anyway, yeah, so let me go to the astrology for a minute, and then we're going to do a nice little mini reading for Mr. Ross and see what's going on. So it's not a very complete chart. It's just mostly the symbols, but what I wanted to show you mostly is the sacred geometry. It's still here. It's been going on for quite a while. There's this big fat kite, okay? And it happens to be on very, very critical degrees. 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 2. So that's a very, very high-powered kite. The beauty of the kite is that it provides a tremendous support system in the background while we, the people, Homo sapiens, our species, is trying to figure out what the hell is going on with all the dysfunction in our relationships with ourselves and each other. How have we become so incredibly successful at mass destruction of our own species? How do we do that? How do we allow that to happen? It's mind-boggling. We're the ones doing it, humans to humans. We've got this beautiful big fat grand trine here, which is very harmonious and supportive, and it's bolstered up by these two sextiles here, which brings in the energy of opportunity to exploit this harmonious, powerful energy to try and learn and understand and grow and evolve, so that we don't have to deal with this stuff all day, every day, which basically translate into World War III. This is how I correlate this astrology here. Also recently, I don't know if you noticed, there was a pretty vicious thing going on here. A few days ago, it was very acute as Mars entered Scorpio. When I saw that it was in a hard square with Pluto, I knew we were going to start to get mass outbreaks all over the world of extreme hyperviolence. We're already at war all over the world, but this is off the charts. It's going absolutely ballistic. Pick a side. So that's where we are right now. This affects all of us, everything here on Earth, the plants, the trees, the whales, the dolphins, the butterflies, all of it. It affects the tectonic plates, the mountains, the rivers, lakes, and so on. Anyway, this is the transit. It's what's happening today, and this can land anywhere in your chart. You know, like if you are let's say, a Libra ascendant, your chart would look like, your transits would look like this. If you were a Cancer ascendant, it would be like this. Aries like this, of course. Capricorn, it would look like this. You know, it's the same geometry, but it's depending on who you are and how this would impact you at the personal level. So I just wanted to put that out there. And just a reminder, everybody, that we've been going through eclipse season all this month. The build up to the eclipses and full moon eclipse, where we knew there was some very scary stuff that was going to happen. Certain people, beliefs, institutions, things would be eclipsed out of our existence. And of course, on the 10th, there was the massive tragic assassination of a fellow named Charlie. And then there was all the chaos and aftermath over here because of that assassination. And then we come to the conclusion, and that we have to start from scratch again and figure out how we're going to proceed now that we've witnessed how incredibly good we are at destruction and violence and evil. So we're starting all over again with the new moon Libra eclipse here. It's been going almost a week now. Well, it's been going for a week now. And we're starting to pick up momentum. And basically the gist of it is that we have to formulate healthy relationships with ourselves and each other. It's impossible to have a healthy relationship with a significant other until you have completely assimilated your own toxicity and transformed it into something healthy. You have to be healthy, loving inside of yourself in order to have the reciprocal in return. You can't just sit there and yell at the rest of the world, "You're evil, you're evil, you're evil, you're nasty, I hate you, I hate you, I want to shoot you, I want to rip you to shreds." You'll figure out very quickly you're not going to get very far. So anyway, that's the astrology for now. we've got still early days of Uranus retrograde, but when we go into October, Pluto's going to go direct. We already know with all these retrogrades here, anything and everything that can go wrong will go wrong, has gone wrong, and will continue to go wrong until we've figured it out. It's a fantastic opportunity to figure out everything and anything that's not working, and how do we fix it? That's the whole point of the retrogrades. Anyway, let's have a look. Alright, so let's get on and do a mini reading. I've got to shuffle up a deck and get a little pick a deck and then get it shuffled and cleaned up and ready to go. Hold on. Oh, where am I? I'm sorry, I'm doing housekeeping adjustments in the background. How do I do this? What am I doing? Okay, my poor little computer. Oh God, this is really, really frustrating. I'm gonna have to get another computer. Okay. Alright, let's see if I can do this without causing too much trouble or technical catastrophes. Come on, my little computer, come on, you can do this. I know, you're very, very old, very high mileage. I don't know if you saw this today. This sequence of horrible videos of all these horses and carriages for tourists over in Central Park in New York. And those animals are so heavily abused, it's just disgusting. The owners and the keepers and the contractors who, do this tourist stuff, they push those animals till they're dead. And the animals fall dead onto the ground. They don't care if it's like 20 degrees below freezing or whether it's 120 degrees Fahrenheit in New York. The tourists must be served, and those animals are not built to survive in that heat or that cold or that age. I mean, they literally run those animals till they collapse. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Sorry, I had to get that out of me. When I get like that, I want to go vigilante. I want to go totally vigilante, and that's where I have to be very, very careful so that I don't go vigilante. All right, I think I'm ready to go for the transition to the actual readings. Well, we got that far. That's pretty good. All right, let's see. Ooh, let's bless this deck. Bless every single card in this deck. Gather around your invisible friends, sir. You know the routine. We've worked together for many years now. Thanks, Tarsi. Yeah, I was gifted the music. The music was gifted to me. I didn't write it. I write a lot of music. I don't know if anybody knows that, but I was in music business for a long time, on not just movies and TV, but actually like performing music and so on. And I got a lot of songs on YouTube. The productions are very rough and amateur, but you still get a good tune and a good beat. All right, Mr. Ross, you know the routine. This is my diagnostic tool. This is my situational spread. I only have 3 spreads: my situational, my crucible, and my heart journey. Okay, that's it. I only do this one live. But anyway, think of this as a diagnostic tool of the little black box that you plug into the dashboard of your car to find out what the hell's going wrong when your check engine light is flashing orange, orange, orange. Okay. You gotta reveal it to heal it. If you don't know what's wrong, you can't fix it. You have to find out what it is, define it, name it, and then figure out the solution. Otherwise, everything just falls apart and decays and degenerates into an abyss of nothingness. All right. Oh boy. Let's see. Have a look here. I need a little refreshment. Hold water here. General, please. General, you got. Okay. Here we go. Very nicely shuffled. What kind of messages do we have for Mr. Ross today regarding life in general? It could be anything. Absolutely anything. I love doing the blind readings. It's so much fun this way. Here we go. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. And here's how to handle things. Keeping it very simple. No reversals, no flyers, no jumpers. And under here, we're going to look at the external influences. I usually defer to the astrology, but sometimes it gets a sort of a personal feel. Let's have a look. Ace of Pentacles. Woof. All right. I think of the aces or magic sacred cards of opportunity. And they are there. You have to grab it while it's there. And that's up to you. It's a personal thing. And it's indicating, let's just see if we can do a close-up. New starts and new beginnings. So I think this is probably very aligned with the recent new moon eclipse, where there is a lot of, let's just say, hidden potential out there in many different forms. But ultimately, it looks to me like it's about business, career, and money. Security, long-term stability, getting your finances in order, and looking at your life from a new perspective as opposed to where things have been, where you've come from. This is very much looking into the future, okay? And there you see on the horizon through this magical portal, here we are through a magic portal. There's a whole other world on the other side, okay? But you have to take the courageous leaps and opportunities to go there, to get there. All right, let's have a look. Whew. All right, what's the situation itself? Let's have a look. Page of Cups. To me, this feels like it's an admission. To me, it's a very beautiful energy that I'm sensing. It's almost like, what I'm feeling is like, you're looking in the mirror and you're realizing, my gosh, I have lived such a life. I have been loving. I have been loved. I've been here. I've done that. I'm related to British royalty going back thousands of years. I'm an ex-polo rider. I'm a highly feared lawman. I live in a community surrounded by hardcore radical lefties, but I thrive anyway. And then I look in the mirror like, wow, I still have so much to learn. What the bleep? If only I knew life would be like this when I got to this point in my life. I had no idea. It never stops. It never freaking stops. Every day is a new beginning, a new chance, new opportunity to understand deeper and deeper what it really means. What is that phenomenon? What is that? Look, there's a little fish. And so the snorkel diver was going down into the beautiful waters of a coral reef and looking at the beautiful tropical fish. And one of the tropical fish comes up to him and looks him right in his goggles and says, "Excuse me, I've seen you here before a few times. You must know a lot of things that I don't know. Could you tell me? I know this sounds weird, but what is this thing called water? What is it?" And the snorkeler looks at the fish and says, "You're kidding me." And the little fish says, "No, I'm not kidding. I want to know. I need to know. What is it? I've heard all about it. What is it?" Oh, and the snorkeler says, "Well, you're in it. You're living in it. This is your home. You're swimming in it. It's surrounding you all day, every day." Oh, the little fish said, "Oh, I just didn't know that. Oh, thank you very much." Oh, dear me. So it's the same thing. It's the same kind of realization, like, oh, I forgot. Oh, I forgot. I am living in a perpetual swirl of the healing power of love. It's there all day, every day. I'm swimming in it. It might look invisible because you only tell by actions and reactions, because love is as love does, remember? I mean, you could think about love, you can project love through, through the ether and so on, but mostly love is as love does. In our three-dimensional world, it's about actions, so, yeah. You thought you'd be rich and famous by now. Oh, yeah, kind of like in the movies. Maybe like that, what's that? We talked about that a while back, who's that famous legal writer? He lives over there, I think, in Oxford, Mississippi. He's rich and famous. He cashed in on his legal background. Anyway, don't be ashamed or embarrassed about this. It's very beautiful energy. It's an amazing thing to wake up every day and realize there's still so much to learn. You're still surrounded by love. Love is still there. It might feel tainted and bruised, and maybe you feel like I'm not getting as much love as I should, but Grisham, that's it, right? But anyway, life goes on. So what's the challenges here? Yeah. Going back to the mirror, looking in the mirror, then it's going there to realize, yeah. Kind of like what I was talking about earlier over here, this story, like how has Homo sapiens become so incredibly successful at being the cause of its own demise and just piling up more and more misery on itself and making life harder and harder for itself and consequently for everybody else? How does that happen? It's because we're still evolving as a species. We do not know yet how to be 100% pure loving and pure love. And so this is a recognition and an acknowledgement of the astrology of the day, where you can look with honesty in the mirror and realize, like, all these burdens that I carry, all day, every day, I could say, poor me, poor me, poor miserable me. It's the rest of the world's fault. It's everyone else. And then you realize, nope, I'm actually the one carrying these things. I picked them up. I loaded this onto myself. How on earth did that happen? Well, let's go back to the astrology. Kerblam, right over here. Saturn and Neptune. Saturn's already in Pisces. Neptune is on the cusp. Let me double, triple, quadruple check. And Neptune is still in Aries, but it's heading towards Pisces, and you're probably going to feel it a lot more at the end of October. This little reading will make a lot more sense in a month from now. But what I'm sensing here is that everybody on Earth, not just you, not this reading here just for you, Gregory, but almost for the whole message for the whole of planet Earth, is that we have to realize we create a lot of our own problems and bring them onto ourselves, but it's so much easier to blame someone or something else. I mean, I do that all day anyway. I blame the planets for everything. I could blame my childhood, my conditioning, my upbringing, my parents, my enemies, whatever it is, for my misery. And it's kind of true, but you know, in some ways, Gregor, we've talked about this before. You're kind of one of those people, you can't help helping people. You've been very good at helping others who could not help themselves and who deserved the help that you gave them. But in some ways, in so doing, you took on burdens that in some ways were never yours to begin. And then my feeling is today with this reading, once you acknowledge this for what it really is, you can maybe, I'm not going to anticipate this card, but what I'm sensing here right now, because this is such a potential extreme burden to have to deal with this all the time, we can see from here that we have to accept and realize that for many of us in this 12th house Pisces shadow expression of Neptune energy, we are the cause of our own demise. Ultimately, you know, people say that you're the author of your own destiny. But you've got new starts and new beginnings here. It's possible that there's a situation would arise where you could think, you know, I could just put all this stuff down. Do I really have to carry all this stuff? Is it really mine to carry? Am I just carrying it because I'm a compassion junkie and I'm a very loving, caring person? Okay, so let's keep going. Let's have a look. How do we proceed here? Wow. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Bam. Okay, it's really simple, Gregory. From now on, your day job is to make yourself happy. You are number one from this point onwards. You are heavily devoted to others. You can't help it. You're almost like in a Clint Eastwood movie where, you know, there's no reward, there's no prize, there's nothing, but you end up having to be the reluctant hero who has to go and save a bunch of people who have no chance without your help. And so you go and do it. That's a classic Clint Eastwood movie. Okay? But with this, it's basically giving you permission, and the sun is basically telling you, listen, Gregory, it's okay. It's okay to focus on you, to be 100% you, because we're heading into that energy soon. Sure, let's enjoy the retrogrades for now and see how, when, why, where, and who we sabotaged, or we allowed people to sabotage us, how we sabotage ourselves. We need to understand that, but eventually Saturn and Neptune are going to move on. They're going to slide back into Aries, and there's going to be extreme pressure for Homo sapiens and you, Gregory, to align with your true core nature, your true self, and put yourself first. What is good and right and wholesome for you. Okay? A lot of people don't like that because it makes them feel like I'm just selfish and mean and arrogant and narcissistic and egomaniac. It's not true. It's your God-given birthright and duty to be the most ultimate version of you possible. And one way to measure that is by feeling happy. When you feel happy, I'm not talking about the happiness that comes from like extreme self-indulgence, like I have to have a new car every 2 years, or I need to get totally blasted out of my head on high-grade liquor, or I need to go and really humiliate and embarrass somebody because that makes me feel better. No, this is about joy, pure joy, but not ecstatic like delirium. I'm talking about the joy of contentment, where you start I've already got everything. I'm a complete being. I have talents, gifts, and resources. I have history. I have heritage. I know a lot about what goes wrong. I know now how I have effectively caused self-harm, sometimes not unnecessarily, but maybe in, out of kindness to others, and it ends up being self-destructive. We can stop that pattern. You don't have to feel guilty, and you can move on and start to move into this energy field that I would call contentment. Instead of chasing happiness, you just allow yourself to feel content. I know it sounds simple for me to say that. Simple is not easy. I want to go over here for a second. Where's my clickety click? So, yeah. Content is like a very subtle, powerful form of happiness where you don't have to have saturation social media, the best food, the best booze, lots of sex, lots of money, lots of adventures. No, you can be content just by sitting on a rocking chair, looking out a window, and being content from the inside out, as opposed to relying on external stimuli to create what you would interpret as happiness. I hope that makes sense. In some ways, contentment is more valuable than happiness. I mean, happiness is great, but it's an amazing thing to be content where you realize, I'm content. I got some of the basics. I got a lot better than others, like I have running water, clean water, indoor plumbing, electricity, internet. I got a roof. I got my phone. I got my buddies. I got Stone Cold and the little Mia, little furry doggy, little black and white furry doggy, if I recall. Yeah. You could say that's content, and then you could flip back to the beginning of the reading, new starts and new beginnings. That's good. That's measurable. That's three-dimensional wealth. To feel very, very rich from the inside out. That's contentment. Anyway, that's your mini reading. Thank you very much. All right, let me just do something here. I wonder if I can. Give me a second. I'm doing some technical stuff behind the scenes. Oh gosh, what have I done? Every time I press a button, I'm terrified that something's going to explode or burn or stop operating. Okie dokie. All right, so you know what? I'm just going to wrap it up for tonight. Anyone who's here and witnessed that little reading and you wanted to reinterpret it as your own, that's fine. You can thank Gregory. He's a very generous, kind person. We all know that. And so by extension, just you can adopt some of the story out of that reading for yourself. Because in a way, it's a very universal, broad spectrum reading. It just happened to be specific to Gregory. But in some ways, it applies to everybody. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is kind of wrap it up here. We don't have any more readings booked, so I'm just going to leave it at that. If anybody needs to, first start, obviously, don't ever do super chat here. Don't ever do that, okay? You can go here. If you really want to donate and help out, I'm trying to raise money for a new laptop, and I found a really good deal. I don't know how the deal is going to last, but if I can pounce on it, I will. And also, on this website, TarotLumination.com, you can get in touch with me. You can book private readings for tarot and astrology and all of that stuff, or just make simple donations. It all helps here, okay? So let's wrap it up for the evening. I bid you all farewell. Thanks for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. I invite you to come and visit me on my Rumble shows. They usually do them in the evening during the week. Sometimes they're not shows anymore. Sometimes they're just posting. I found this really, really good laptop at Walmart for $539. I thought it was fantastic. It's an i7 13th generation. It's not a full-on gamer. I don't need a full-on gamer. It's a high-end i7 Windows 11, but it's heavily discounted for whatever reason. I know quite a lot about these computers. I know a good deal when I see it. I don't need a super ultra high powered gamer. I love that because they have the twin turbo fans to keep the engine very, very cool. And you can go from there, because in the summertime here, heat destroys computers, okay? Heat will destroy your phone. And it's one of the reasons my laptop is starting to age. So anyway, thank you everybody. It's been a pleasure to read for you, Gregory. I'd like to read for others if you're interested. You can visit me on Rumble, TarotLumination on Rumble. If you subscribe over there, you'll get the notifications. It seems to work. Rumble's different. It isn't anywhere near as big as YouTube. It doesn't have all the functions, but it's good for me because I feel more safe, and I get direct person-to-person support, and I can speak my mind freely. It's all about free speech. Take care, everybody. Look after yourselves. Be loving. Be loved. It's simple, pure physics. That's all it is. All right. Good night.